है रोशनी का कारवां।
This podcast is brought to you by Score Foundation.
ये है रोशनी, रोशनी, रोशनी का कारवां, रोशनी। आए वे, ये है रोशनी का कारवां।
हाय नमस्कार, मैं जॉर्ज एब्राहम। आईवे कॉन्वर्सेशंस की इस कड़ी में स्वागत है। आज हमारा मेहमान मेघा राकेचा जो कलकत्ता से हैं। शी इज़ वर्किंग इन द इंश्योरेंस सेक्टर। हाय मेघा, वेलकम।
Hi, George sir, and thank you so much for having me on this podcast.
जब दृष्टिबाधित लोग इंश्योरेंस के बारे में सोचते हैं तो अक्सर उनको यही अनुभव होता है कि उनको पॉलिसी लेने से मना किया जाता है क्योंकि वो दृष्टिबाधित है। सो वी वुड लाइक टू नो अ लिटिल बिट मोर अबाउट दिस सेक्टर। सो पहली बात, आप इंश्योरेंस सेक्टर में क्या करती है, उसके बाद आगे बढ़ते हैं।
बेसिकली इंश्योरेंस सेक्टर में हम लोग डील करते हैं इन ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ इंश्योरेंस, लाइफ एंड हेल्थ, जो सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है, राइट। व्हेन इट कम्स टू टर्म एंड हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, एज यू सेड, राइट, बहुत मुश्किल होता है पीपल विथ विजुअल इम्पेयरमेंट के लिए ये मिलना। हमें बहुत बारी लोग आते हैं, बोलते हैं कि दे हैड ट्राइड गेटिंग इट बट उनका रिजेक्ट हो गया ऑन द बेसिस कि वो विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड हैं तो उनको देते नहीं है। सो हम लोग का मेन पर्पस अभी ये है कि वी आर ट्राइंग टू डील विद दिस प्रॉब्लम एंड वी आर ट्राइंग टू टॉक टू मल्टीपल इंश्योरर्स and getting them on board and trying to explain to them that just because आप एक person with disability हो doesn't mean कि आपका risk profile बहुत change होता है। And honestly, I feel that being visually impaired, हम लोग ज़्यादा careful भी रहते हैं। So ये हमारा aim है sir, to get the insurers on board and make insurance accessible for everybody.
तो अगला सवाल बहुत सरल है। आप किन किन इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं?
We are tied up with a broker, which helps us, associate with multiple companies, so that हम किसी भी एक company से restricted ना रहे, which is very important. तो when it comes to term insurance, which is a part of life insurance, तो हमारा सबसे ज़्यादा 100% success rate रहा है with Access Max Life. And we have also spoken with Bajaj. They are willing to take up a case and see that they can probably give us term insurance for that as well. When it comes to health insurance, we have tied up with HDFC, Care, Niva Bupa and Galaxy.
यहाँ पर एक चीज़ बताइए, आपने 3 टर्म्स यूज़ किया। नंबर 1 हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, नंबर 2 लाइफ इंश्योरेंस, नंबर 3 term insurance.
When it comes to life insurance, it is basically protecting your self and your loved ones from financial uncertainties, right? तो life insurance में बहुत सारे components होते हैं. Term insurance is part of that. So when I explain term insurance, it is a pure risk cover, जो basically अगर आपके ऊपर कोई financially dependent है, लाइक आपके अगर पेरेंट्स आप पे फाइनेंशियली डिपेंडेंट है या आपका स्पाउस है और यू हैव योर किड्स, तो इफ समथिंग हैपेंस टू यू टुडे, उनके फाइनेंशियल नीड्स प्रोटेक्ट करना इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो टर्म इंश्योरेंस आपको बेसिकली वो करने में हेल्प करता है। एंड लाइफ इंश्योरेंस में टर्म इंश्योरेंस इज अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट, बट इन लाइफ इंश्योरेंस आपको और मनी बैक प्लान्स और ये सब टाइप के यूलिप प्लान्स, ये ऑप्शंस मिलते हैं वेर यू इन्वेस्ट अ सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ मनी एंड देन आपको अपने लाइफ टर्म में ही वो मनी वापस मिल जाता है। एंड इफ समथिंग हैपेंस टू यू, तो आपको एक सम अश्योर्ड होता है जो आपके नॉमिनी को मिल जाता है। सो दिस इज व्हाट इज लाइफ एंड टर्म इंश्योरेंस। व्हेन इट कम्स टू हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस आपके मेडिकल एक्सपेंसेस को प्रोटेक्ट करता है। तो आजकल एवरीबडी हैज सीन की कंडीशंस लाइक कैंसर, हार्ट अटैक्स, ऑर्गन रिलेटेड डिसऑर्डर्स, ये सब बहुत कॉमन होते जा रहे हैं विद आवर लाइफस्टाइल्स। सो एंड स्पेशली कंडीशंस जैसे कैंसर, जहाँ पे आपको काफी रेगुलरली कुछ मेडिकल चेकअप्स और टेस्ट वगैरह कराने पड़ते हैं, तो वो बहुत फाइनेंशियली ड्रेनिंग हो जाता है। तो उस केस में हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस मेक्स श्योर कि आपके मेडिकल एक्सपेंसेस कवर अप हो जाए एंड आपको अपनी सेविंग्स में से डिप ना करना पड़े एंड नाइदर डू यू हैव टू टेक लोन्स. So, this is the difference between term and health insurance. One is protecting your life and, giving your family a financial protection if something happens to you. And the other is protecting your medical needs.
And I think the health insurance has to be renewed every year, while life insurance is a contract that you sign over a period of 20 to 30 years, where you have a monthly or quarterly, half yearly, or an annual premium that you pay.
Right. Depending on what kind of plan you go for, there's a lot of options. So yes, as you mentioned, it protects your interests over multiple years. And health insurance is something you have to renew every year. Your premium also changes with age, and it is something that expires every year.
So, is there any particular age when you cannot be insured after?
So it depends from company to company. Usually above the age of 60 to 65, they will stop taking in new policies. And obviously, if you have already developed some medical condition, then both life and health insurance is something which will be extremely difficult for you to get.
If you know of anyone with vision impairment who needs guidance in living life with blindness, please share the Ivy National Helpline number 8800004334. The number is 8800004334.
Your husband Piyush, he is in the finance business. Is he also involved with your insurance company, or you're doing it solo?
No, so both of us are involved. Basically, I am a part of his company, Rakheja Finserv, but I'm completely taking care of the insurance vertical, and he oversees things. So he's also aware of the insurance industry and how it works. He also has an experience of more than 4 to 5 years in the insurance sector. So yeah, both of us are involved together.
When did and where did the two of you meet? Was this an arranged marriage, or is this a marriage that you met and then decided?
It's a love marriage, and it has actually we've not even completed a year yet. So,
Right, good.
But we met in 2024. We met through some mutual friends. As you know, I'm originally from Delhi, and at the time, Piyush had flown down to Delhi for a conference, and we had a get together, and he also knew those people, so he came, and it was love at first sight, can't say, but I think love at first voice sound, I guess.
Right.
Both of us said hi to each other, and I think it just clicked for us at that hi. We spoke for many hours that day, and then we continued talking and took it forward.
इंश्योरेंस अभी आपने करीब 1 साल से कर रहे हैं, तो हाउ मेनी ब्लाइंड एंड विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड पीपल हैव यू मैनेज टू गेट इंश्योर्ड?
So when it comes to term insurance, we have done about 20 or I think 20 odd or more than 20 term insurance policies. When it comes to health, as I said, we recently had a breakthrough with health insurance. So it's still in a single digit, the numbers, but they are growing and we're getting more and more responses and inquiries from people with visual impairment. Hoping that by next year it will be in 3 digits.
आप कह रहे हैं कि अभी कलकत्ता में आपके जो कांटेक्ट में जो कंपनीज है, वो लोग अभी अपना अपना जो इंश्योरेंस का जो स्कीम्स है ब्लाइंड लोगों के लिए खोल दिया है, बट वही कंपनी दूसरे सिटीज में मना करते हैं.
Right.
इसका कारण क्या है?
मेरा पर्सनल बिलीफ ये है कि आई थिंक इवन द कंपनीज डोंट हैव अ सेंट्रल बेस वेयर दे कैन इन्फॉर्म देयर ऑल देयर एम्प्लॉइज कि हम लोग इन कैटेगरीज को इंश्योरेंस दे रहे हैं with these kind of stipulations, which I think is very sad, because हमारे पास काफी clients आए हैं who have directly gone to these insurers and have been rejected, but they have come to us and we've been able to get them the policy from the same company without any issue. So this is something that I'm hoping and talking to people that we can sort out, that companies have a central database where then everywhere it is the same nationwide, that if one company is giving, then all their branches should be issuing policies to, that same category of people.
एक इंश्योरेंस कंपनी ने बॉम्बे में मेरा इंश्योरेंस मना किया था, पर दिल्ली में आके उन्होंने इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी मेरा इशू किया। और मुझे लगता है कि दिल्ली में वो लोग मेडिकल टेस्ट किया नहीं, हालांकि बॉम्बे में तो किया था।
Right.
तो मुझे ये अंदेशा है कि शायद इंश्योरेंस कंपनी को मालूम नहीं कि मैं दृष्टिबाधित हूँ।
It is very important to be entirely transparent when you're getting any kind of insurance. So this is one thing that me and Piyush, both of us, are very, very careful about, that whether it's health insurance or life insurance, we will make sure the company is completely aware that the person whose case they're logging in is visually impaired. We always tick the person with disability option in the form, and we'll always submit the disability certificate. These two things are always taken care of. And sometimes we also get further requirements from the company कि उनको ज़्यादा और medical history जाननी है, तो उनको और reports की ज़रूरत है, या उनको कुछ self declarations चाहिए होती हैं to ask the person कि उनको क्या problem है, कब से है, how are they coping. So we make sure कि हम ये सब कुछ provide करें, so that in the future कोई भी क्लेम आए तो द क्लाइंट शुड नॉट हैव एनी प्रॉब्लम, एंड द कंपनी शुड हैव नो रीजन कि वो आपका क्लेम रिजेक्ट करे जस्ट बिकॉज आप विजुअली इम्पेयर्ड हो या आपके इनिशियल पॉलिसी लेने के टाइम पे कुछ आपने डिस्क्लोज नहीं किया. वी मेक श्योर नथिंग ऑफ दैट सॉर्ट हैपेंस. And it's not just visual impairments, or it's also if you have any other condition, never hide it, because that's where you have problems when claims come in. So आपको कोई भी medical condition हो, please disclose it. That is one thing that I always tell everybody, and it's a practice me and Piyush always follow.
And is there any ceiling on how much a blind person can be insured for, or is it sky's the limit?
So unfortunately, with some insurers, they have created plans where you have sublimits, co-payments, and a certain amount of cover only they will give. But there are also insurers who are willing to issue policies that they are also issuing in the mainstream community without any extra loading and without any sublimits, co-payments, and all of that. So it depends company to company, sir.
मेघा, आपको याद होगा पहली बार हमने आपसे मिला था जब आप लेडी श्री राम कॉलेज में साइकोलॉजी ऑनर्स करने का प्रयास कर रहे थे.
राइट.
तो वहाँ पर आपको कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स हुआ था. तो व्हाट वाज एक्चुअली द चैलेंज यू हैड विद साइकोलॉजी?
So I feel there were a few things that I faced a lot of difficulty with. Some were personal, where at that time I had started losing my sight substantially, and getting aware and familiar with screen readers, mobility, and everything was becoming challenging and overwhelming. And apart from this, there also the issues that I faced, going to LSR was, not getting enough support to, reach my classes as they used to happen all over the campus. Second, there was no material available in digital, and that support I was not getting from teachers and the staff there. And I also feel there's always a stigma around visually impaired doing practical subjects. They always used to keep pushing me towards, taking, changing my field from psychology to a more theoretical, theory-related subject, like, history honors or pol science honors. But that was something I was not interested in. So, that a little bit of, if I use the word negativity, is what I was getting from the staff there. So that was quite disheartening. And one more thing that I'll never forget, as psychology is a practical subject and you have practical, you have your practicals, they had said that they will not even give me a scribe or a writer for my practicals, somebody who can help me take the readings. And that was something that I didn't even know how to explain or fight for, as, it's very clear that I won't be able to see the scale and take the readings. So that is the kind of pushback I was facing in LSR.
तो आपने कितने साल के बाद आपने गिव अप किया? आपने 1-2 साल कंप्लीट किया था या फर्स्ट ईयर में भी आपने छोड़ दिया था?
I dropped out towards the end of my first year itself.
What exactly is the challenge you have with your eyes?
So I have retinal pigmentation. I was diagnosed with it when I was 9. And I think it's mostly the story with everybody where parents ko pehle initially laga ki there's something, but doctors keep saying nahi nahi kuch hai nahi, but over the years we used to have these medical tests in school, and every year my specs used to just keep getting thicker with like
Hmm.
no, there was no reason given for it. Then one fine day, my mom was like, no, there's definitely something and we need to, get it checked. So officially, I was diagnosed with MD and RP both at the age of 9.
Acha, it's a double stroke,
Yes.
macular degeneration and retinitis pigmentosa.
Yes.
What was going through your mind when this diagnosis happened?
It was a major shock for me. And being that young, just being 9, when you're told that you have something, I think you don't even completely understand it. All I could see was, my mom coming out of each doctor's appointment crying. And eventually, while growing up, I think that is when I started realizing, what's happening, because there was a lot of things I had to change in my life, things I had to give up. I used to love sports and I used to play basketball when I could see, and eventually I had to stop playing that, and then I could not see the blackboard. All of those issues started coming in. So it was a huge shock.
To support our work with the blind and visually impaired, you can visit the donate page on our website www.scorefoundation.org.in. Please note www.scorefoundation.org.in.
You gave up your LSR in your first year, your graduation.
Right.
So, did you ever complete your graduation, or you are an unpad?
Thankfully, I'm not, sir, and I'm so happy I can say that. So luckily, I had that push. I don't know where that push came from, but I luckily got that and re-enrolled myself in 2019 and completed my graduation in 2022. And that was a major turning point for me.
आपने बीच में केक्स वगैरह बनाना भी शुरू किया था, राइट?
Yes.
तो उसके
Um,
बारे में बताइए थोड़ा.
After LSR, when I was trying to figure out what I should do with my life, I explored a lot of things. So baking was one of them. I took some classes, started baking. I even did it professionally for a little bit. I was baking and selling out of my own kitchen. And I feel that was very therapeutic as well. So that helped. I also got into dancing, learned a few dance forms. I also learned a little bit of piano, started a YouTube channel, did a few videos there as well. So all of this.
What was on the video? You were speaking about something, you were singing, or you were dancing, or you played the piano. What was on YouTube?
So for most of my videos, you will find me either dancing or speaking, as I love doing both.
Mm.
And when it comes to speaking, what I wanted to really do was, make the world aware that just because you're visually impaired doesn't put you in one kind of a case. Like you're not restricted to just, being an idol or, just being intelligent. I mean, you can just do anything. So in my life, luckily, I've been lucky to have done and explored a lot of things. I've done skydiving and, I've done a lot of other adventurous activities. So I put all of that in. Basically, I wanted to portray that, even VI's life is just normal. You just have one aspect that's changed, but everything else is the same as, everyone else.
Your adventure or your skydiving, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So, my sister, she's married and settled in the US. So I had gone to visit her once. For 4 months, I'd gone alone. So that time, she pushed me because I really wanted to do it. And so this was near her house. So we went there. And luckily, the instructor I got who jumped with me was very adventurous that he accepted taking a blind person up in the air and jumping together with me. So it was a lot of fun, super, super fun. I think, obviously, as I could not enjoy the view, but the feel when you're falling and then the parachute opens, I think it's something that everybody should try.
And what was the other adventure that you did?
So I've done river rafting, I've done parasailing, all
Or
kinds of adventurous activities you can think of.
again in the US, or that was in India?
All over. So river rafting has been in India, Rishikesh,
Mm-hmm.
and parasailing was in Mauritius.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been all over actually. I did zip lining in the US as well. So again, in one of my trips to the US, they have this place called the Wild Water Center. So there they have a lot of activities. They have zip lining. They have these bridges that you cross, which is above, like really high up in the air, above a whole forest, I think. So there are like 8 bridges that you cross. I did all of that. So that was in the US, yes.
Apart from financial advising and financial marketing and so on that Piyush and you do, what are the other things that you have been doing over the past year in terms of fun activity?
I think the most fun activity that we did was our honeymoon.
Okay.
Because no, I'll tell you why. Because we both did not want to be dependent on anybody, and we also wanted to go abroad. So we took that chance. We went to Bali, and we did all the bookings ourselves, and we just did the support that we did for ourselves was a cab driver there. The same cab driver stayed with us throughout the trip. So we took a little bit of help from him, managed all the activities on our own. And managed in the hotels, and it was successful. Nowhere did we feel that we got stuck, or something we wanted to do we could not do. Like we did the Bali swing, we did the water scooter, and water scooter for the first time I khud chalaya, which was something I was looking forward to always. यहाँ इंडिया में इतना ऑप्शन मिलता नहीं है, लोग करने नहीं देते, but there they were supportive enough. Like obviously the person sat behind us, but I was completely in control of the water scooter, so that was a lot of fun. Apart from that, we've gone for a lot of stand-up comedies, as both of us are into that, and we went for the Coldplay concert. So I think we've done more those kind of things.
Okay. And this, when you say you both of you are interested in stand-up comedy, you do the comedy yourself or you attend comedy shows?
We do a little bit of comedy ourselves for each other also, I feel. No,
Right.
but we attended the shows as well. We attended 3. Basi, if you're aware of Basi, as he's one of the main comedians that we love. I think he's super funny. And we attended Abhishek Upmanyu and a few others.
So the home that you live in now is a joint family, or it's Piyush and you live separately somewhere?
No, so it's a joint family. We stay with his parents.
Yeah, that's I think a big support, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. But I
Right.
feel that even if me and Piyush ever have to stay alone, I think that also would be fine. We are not staying with them because we are visually impaired. We stay with them because, we just feel that's the right decision right now for us.
I was also thinking of when you get married and you live as a couple,
Mhm.
there's the element of food on the table. Who cooks
Right.
the food?
I feel both of us should cook. So yeah, either you two cook or you get a cook. What to do?
Well, Megha, it's wonderful talking to you, and wish you and Piyush the very best as you build your
Thank
lives
you.
together and build your business together. Take care.
Mhm. Thank you so much. And I loved being on the podcast. So thank you so much for having me.
Highway, ये है रोशनी का कारवां.
This podcast was brought to you by Score Foundation.